The first ever girlfriend that I had was when I was 11 years old. That was because I'm Latino and it's kinda normal in that environment, right? Even if it sounds like a joke, it was actually very wholesome. And getting introduced into the dating market and interacting with girls in that way at such a young age ended up in a ton of lessons that I'm very grateful for today, even the darkest ones. For all the relationships that I was able to analyze since then, I realized a scary truth, and that is that basically everyone cheat at some point. As a man and being scared that could happen to me, I started to pay attention closely to other relationships and my own interactions for the course of over 10 years to find out the pattern. And after all that time, I think I finally found which one is the reason for why most men are getting cheated nowadays. And I want to share that with you. My name is Jesus Noya and I help men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant and be more attractive, all this while avoiding the deadly mistakes that I made through my sex life. This comes from my medical background of being a medicine student and 5 years of struggling with things like performance anxiety, premature ejaculation and non-existent sexual confidence. Today I want to save you from the excruciating pain that is getting horn, that is one of the worst experiences ever. And I will also help you to stay in a polarized and loving relationship and identifies the signs before cheating even happens. And by chance, the top link in the description is my Instagram if you want to be in contact with me, so go and click it right now. There's a concept that encapsulates the reason for almost every broken relationship that I ever see. Being getting cheated just one of the outcomes for this. And to explain it, I want to tell you the story of a dear friend that just went through this a couple of months ago. My friend Joseph years ago started a relationship with a foreign girl. I remember that when we were younger, he was always like attracting very pretty girls all the time. But specifically with this relationship, it looked like he was doing great. They started to get closer and closer and always posting pictures about each other in social media, traveling, going out, even living together. And it looked like they were going to marry. That's how I remember his relationship the last time that I was in contact with him. But then he started to focus on his stuff, I started to do the same, and we lost contact for a while. After a couple of years, we got in contact again, and when I saw him, I noticed some changes. And it wasn't the fact that he gained some weight or he was dressing different. It was more about his attitude and how he was interacting with his girlfriend. I remember that when they met, the girl was basically all the time all over him. Not like in a bad way, but being really into him. But this time what I found was an androgynous dressed couple holding hands like someone else told them to do that and giving each other an empty goodbye kiss. I didn't feel that sparkle or that happiness that used to be before between them. When I was alone with my friend, we started to talk about each other's life and what has been happening, and I started to talk about my plans for the future, for my business, for my health, for my relationships, the things that I want to do. And this wasn't to like mocking or something, because he's actually pretty successful as well. But when I asked for his plans and what he wanted to do, he sounded complacent. Like he just wanted to focus on relaxing and rest time and going through life without any specific plan. I mean, he wanted to do some things like traveling and stuff, but it wasn't like that ambition. It was like the flame inside of him was just gone. He has been even going through some periods of depression. Besides that, I actually had a great time with him. But the image of him and his girlfriend is something that stuck with me because it was kinda odd seeing this transformation. And just a couple of weeks after that, when we were talking, he told me the story of how his girlfriend now is telling him that she wasn't feeling attraction for him anymore and that she wanted to end up things. And that was shocking for all the years of relationship, but he noticed that something was wrong in there. And just like an hour after that specific discussion, he found out that she has been cheating with one of her friends. For him, it wasn't certain what happened or what changed for her to do this, but for me, as someone seeing from the outside, it was actually very clear. As men, when a woman cheats on us, our first instinct is always calling her a whore, right? Like, how is she even able to do that? And I agree, lying and cheating is totally disgusting. But in general, I like the concept of blaming others for our current situation, specifically not with relationships. Because I think that one of our biggest gifts as men is taking responsibility for where we want to go and where we are in life right now. And even if it sounds cold-hearted, this also applies for this situation. The biggest mistake that my friend made, the thing that led everything to crumble, was allowing to lose the polarization in his relationship. That's why I didn't see that sparkle between them anymore. That's why they look like an asexual couple. That's why most relationships are dying nowadays, because they all losing the polarization at some point. Polarization is the attraction of the opposites, and it comes from the interaction between the masculine and the feminine energy. You see this very established when you start to date a new girl, for example, because as men, that's when we're playing our best cards. Deep voice, looking clean and masculine, acting strong and sexy and confident. We don't show weakness or excessive attachment, and we're charming 24/7. And that's when you see girls like jiggling and moving their hair or talking a lot or even looking at us with desire and respect. They only act like that because we are like this. We're transmitting this energy, and that's her response. It's only when we stop acting like this that things start to change. And we stop because we enter in the mindset that we already got her, you know, that she's already committed. For any reason, it could be because we are now in a relationship or marriage or we have children or house, like whatever, right? For any reason, we just think that all the job has been done. She's always going to stay there. But it's actually the opposite. Now, when that happens, is when it's even more crucial for you to bring up more excitement and keep the relationship healthy. Because now you have a deeper bond, and that bond needs to be nourished in some way. The love that is not nourished, it would always wither, no matter what. And when you talk about nourishing the love, I'm not talking about the emotional part, as a lot of men think, right? That's not only romanticism and being sweet. It's not watching movies, responding to her text message at the second, or whatever people think love it is nowadays. It's keeping sacred your masculinity, your essence, your ambition, and the seductive traits, the things that made her fall in love with you. But men don't know about this concept or totally ignore it. And what happens in that case? Women start to look for the traits that you're supposed to provide in other men. Those traits that play a huge role in building the relationship that you guys have now. And we usually blame them and feel like a lot of hate for women for doing that. But picture this, if I buy something online and when I receive it, it's not the product that I asked for, what am I going to do? I'm going to say, fuck this, I don't want this product, this is not what it was on the sales page. I want a refund now so I can go and buy what I needed in the first place. We do the same with relationships. It's just that we are not that upfront. Well, some people are actually very upfront with what they say. But even you as a man, right? If you get into a relationship with a woman and then after weeks or months, it's like she's a totally different person. Even if you're committed, even if you want to be loyal, you're always gonna have like that pull to other women that have the traits that you wanted. Because when we're with someone, we have like a picture in our mind of how that person is. And if that person ends up being totally different, then it's not weird for us to change our mind about the plans that we originally have for our relationship. With women, this happens all the time, and that's when we see the phrase of I don't feel the same anymore. I heard it before, my friend as well, and probably you did at some point. In the case of my friend, it's not like this came out of nowhere, because I'm pretty sure the signs were shown way before he thinks, because it's very clear when a woman stops loving you in the way that she used to do, right? It's a day and night difference. The problem is that he was thinking that was normal, you know, that after so much time knowing each other, that's how a relationship usually progresses. He ended up mixing peace and stability with complacency and boredom. That's when you see in couples that sex start to be lame and mechanic, and even sometimes perform as a chore and less frequent every day. And that's normal, you know, it's because life is getting on the way and you guys have things to do and you can spend all the time being in bed. It's not that you guys don't feel attraction for each other anymore, it's just because of all those reasons. The time that you guys spend with each other isn't significant anymore because, you know, it's normal, it's just daily routine, you guys see each other all the time. It's not that now she sees you as a Ken doll without a penis between your legs, it's just the daily routine, that's it. Then she starts to want to make more things for herself, you know, like going out, spending time alone, focus on her goals, and that's absolutely normal because she's a free individual and empowered woman that wants to do her stuff. It's not that she feels gross or repulsed by you now in comparison with before when she wanted to be 24/7 to your side. No, it's that she wants to now grow more as a person. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. We normalize all those things when they were actually signs of what was actually happening. She was looking in other places, the things that she has lost in her relationship, and when she finds those things, that's what happens. And it totally destroys you because the first thing that you start to think is like, okay, but what about the years of relationship, the kids, the house, all the things that I have done for her? How is she even able to think about doing it? And it is horrible, but the problem is that none of that matters. It's very difficult to think about all that when you have been in a relationship that you just don't want anymore. And I'm not justifying cheating because I know that some women out there are insane and just evil, but a lot of them aren't. You would be surprised with how many good women are out there. I personally met girls that really care about their relationship and the things that they have with their partner, and still they cheated at some point and they feel terrible about it. It's like they never wanted to do that, but it's just happened. They can't even explain why. But it was all because of this. It's the lame sex, it's the lack of ambition, it's the little to non-existent trust that she has in you right now because all the bullshit that you've been doing becoming a soft boy. And when she can't explain it, it's because she's not thinking that consciously. But it is happening. That's why they feel like that pull to do that. Anytime I see a broken relationship, these things happen at some point. The man has become an empty shell of what attracted his woman in the first place. Initially, when I was making this video, I wanted to point out specific reasons like lame sex or choosing the wrong woman, right? But I realized that with masculinity and polarization, all that is covered up. For example, if you're a masculine man that is intellectual and charming with very strong values, it's very difficult that you attract one of those women that have a high chance of cheating. In my case, for example, it's even hard for me to speak with those women. I mean, I could if I want to, but I have to make like a genuine effort to focus on the conversation and keep everything alive. It's just difficult by nature. So when you're masculine and strong and you're polarizing, you will repel those kind of women almost automatically. And at the same time, you will attract those that are actually aligned to your values, that like the same things as you. And with the power of lame sex, it's also impossible to happen because the masculine energy is nourished by sexual energy at the same time. By dominance and passion, they're all the same thing. That's why I want to make an emphasis on this. If you are spiritually strong, with ambition, with energy, full of life and desire for success, living with an open heart of passion and sensuality, do you think that your woman is even going to think about dating an ex-guy or even looking at him? If for whatever reason it happens, then you know that that wasn't the right woman. But in general, the bar for her to even think about that, it will be super high. The reason of why my friend, millions of men, and even myself have to go through the suffering of seeing our girl or woman with an ex-man is because we never pay attention to these things. I didn't even know what was masculinity a couple of years ago. I thought it was like some toxic shit. But when I discovered the concept and what it actually means, it was like I could see all the pieces fell in place. I could see through all my past mistakes and everything just made sense. So as a summary, the reason of why most men are getting cheated nowadays is because we are neglecting polarization, specifically the masculine energy. We're transitioning from a masculine place where we used to be attractive, sexy, dominant and strong and exciting to be lame, weak, emotional, lacking sexual tension and not taking care about the passion of the relationship that comes from the interaction between the masculine and feminine energy. The good thing about all this is that we can change everything. I mean, just by being aware right now that this is a problem, you're way ahead of a lot of men. You can also notice the signs where things are changing. You know, when she's feeling bored or she doesn't feel the same anymore or she wants to focus on herself, that kind of stuff. You know that those are signs. And to avoid all this, just step more and more in your masculine frame. Being dominant and stoic, but mainly present. Having that sense of wanting to be alive, of feeling grateful for the present moment and wanting to experience every second of it. Now, I know that was a lot of info, but if with this I've kind of avoided you one of the worst experiences in the world, I think it's totally worth it. When you see the rates for suicide in men, most of them just come from broken relationships. That's why what I really want for you is that you can enjoy a beautiful and fulfilling sex life and relationship. And I hope that by sharing these experiences, you at least get a little bit closer to that. I really wish that for you. Again, the top link in the description is my Instagram to be in contact with me. Go and click it right now. But besides that, man, I really hope this helps you. And I'll see you later.